All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Carrie Sankey, and I am the principal here at Robinson Elementary School. And I have some guests with me tonight that I want to introduce to you. I have Tana Jango, our current principal. Ryan Gentili, our incoming assistant principal, and I have Nicole Reynolds, our kindergarten office assistant, who many of you have probably been working with as you have gone through the registration process. So all of us want to welcome you here tonight to kindergarten orientation. And please bear with us with this technology. This is a little bit of a different way for us to present, but we're all really excited to welcome you to our Robinson family. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to turn the microphone over to Tana Jango, who's going to tell you a little bit about herself.
Hello, families. Thank you, Dr. Sankey. I'm really excited to be joining you tonight. I have been the assistant principal for about 4 years now at Robinson. It has been a wonderful opportunity to partner with families and teachers and students to work together and have a great school experience. I have been in education for a little more than 25 years and have enjoyed every minute of it. You may notice a little bit of an accent because I am originally from the South, so that sneaks out every once in a while, but I've been up here for over 30 years. Mr. Gentili is going to be taking my place as I move on to a principalship in another district. So he's here with us tonight. We are working together to make sure it's a smooth transition for you. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Gentili right now.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sankey and Mrs. Jango. And good evening, everybody. So my name is Ryan Gentili. I've been over at the Jordan Jackson Elementary School as a special education teacher for almost 18 years now. I started to fill in a little bit at the Robinson Elementary School as assistant principal last year. And I am thrilled to take on that role in the fall. And I'm really looking forward to meeting all of you and working with each and every one of you.
Excellent. And it looks like Nicole Reynolds, our office assistant, might be having a little bit of technology troubles, so we will come back to her. But I'll say a few words about myself right now. So for those of you that are new to the Robinson Elementary School, again, my name is Carrie Sankey, and I have been the principal here. I'm just finishing up my 5th year, but I've been here in the district actually since 1991 when I was a student teacher at the Robinson School. So that's a long time. I've had the opportunity to work at every one of our schools, and I've been a teacher for 11 years. I was a department chair, K-12. I've been an assistant principal and a principal. So I have 29 years of experience in education, and I have to say that I have had the privilege of working all of those years here in Mansfield, and I have had a great career, and I am looking forward to getting to know a fresh crop of new kindergarten students and families. So we welcome you and we open our doors to you. So what we're going to talk about tonight is we're going to be giving you an overview of what a typical day looks like at the Robinson Elementary School for kindergarten students. And we are also going to talk a little bit about our special education program. We're going to talk about how we meet students' social emotional needs. We're going to talk a little bit about finalizing registration and any additional documents that you might need to complete. We'll have Nicole help us out with that. And then we're going to wrap up. What we're not going to talk about tonight is we're not going to be talking about the screening process, and we're not going to be talking about placements or placement letters. Right now, as you know, we are still in the process of working remotely with our students. We have 2 days left to this school year. And we don't know yet what the fall will look like. So as we work to figure out what's going to be happening with the state, and as we get directives from the Commissioner of Education, we will have more clarity on what our academic screening process will look like for your children. And we will have a better idea of what the school year will look like. So as we work through some of those challenges, we will be in touch with you throughout the summer. So I just want to put that out there before we get started so that you're not wondering if I forgot that piece in the presentation. So let's go on to the slideshow. I have a slideshow here that I'm going to be sharing with you. And we've already gone through the agenda, but I do want to give a shout out to my school nurses, Mrs. Sue McGinley and Mrs. Tammy Roselle. Some of you may have already spoken to our school nurses by telephone, and they are going to be continuing to reach out to you to complete the health interviews that are part of our registration process. So if you've not heard from Tammy or Sue, I'm sure they'll be reaching out to you very soon. I'm also going to introduce you to our kindergarten teachers. Again, we're going to talk about what a typical day looks like. And we're going to be talking about PBIS and social thinking, how parents can be involved in MISA, and then we will wrap up. All right, so on to our kindergarten teachers. I'm really excited to let you know that we have 11 kindergarten teachers. And as you all know, kindergarten is full day. So these are the names of our 11 kindergarten teachers. And in addition, we also have a couple of special education teachers that work strictly with the kindergarten population. And we have 2 reading specialists that work with the kindergarten population. So unfortunately, when we typically have had kindergarten orientation in the past, we do this whole presentation in our Robinson cafeteria. And what's really fun about it is you get to actually see who kindergarten teachers are. But because we're doing this remotely, what I've done is I've included a picture collage that our teachers have put together. We've been having so much fun with our Robinson Remote Learning website, where we've uploaded so many photos with little messages for the students. So you can see in this photograph that we have our 11 kindergarten teachers. And in addition, we also have many of our kindergarten paras also included in this picture. So kindergarten teachers and their paraprofessionals who will also be working with your children. Okay, so you're probably wondering what a typical day looks like in kindergarten. So when students come in, they're going to be arriving by bus, or they might be dropped off at Champs early in the morning at our Robinson cafeteria, where the Champs folks will release them to go to class, or you might be dropping them off out front on the west side of our school. So basically, drop-off time starts at 9 o'clock. Students arrive by bus or with their parent. And students, the doors are opened at about 9:01, and students come into the building. There are many adults in the building who direct them where to go. Students then proceed to their classrooms, and they get ready for announcements by 9:08. And then at 9:15, their academics begin. Or if they have specials, art, music, or gym, those begin at 9:15 as well. Now, what you'll experience is, you can see in this photograph that there are some teachers holding up signs. At the very beginning of kindergarten, probably for about a month, the teachers line up outside with signs with their classroom name and logo. And what I mean by logo is, for example, if you have Mrs. DiCarlo as a kindergarten teacher, her class is known as the Apple class. So you'll see DiCarlo, Apple. If you have Mrs. Taddeo, she's the Penguin class, so you'll see a penguin. So students know, oh, I'm looking for the sign with the penguin, or I'm looking for the sign with the apple. And that's how they will identify their teacher. The teachers will line up outside with their signs. Children will come off the bus. Again, we have many folks to welcome them and help them get where they need to go. And then once the teachers have all of their students, they then proceed into the building and they walk them all the way to class. And what's also nice to know is that the students never walk alone when they're in kindergarten. So wherever they need to go at the Robinson School, they are walking with an adult, so that they don't get lost in the building, because it is a big building and it can be a little bit intimidating for our young kindergarten students, especially at the beginning of the year. All right, so once they get into class and we have announcements and they begin their academic day at 9:15, what we do is oftentimes we start the day with calendar activities. And here you can see one of our kindergarten students participating in calendar activities. And calendar activities are where students will identify the month, the day of the week, the date. They'll talk about the weather, and they might share some important experiences that they might have had the night before if they're doing sharing. But what the idea behind doing the calendar activities is that it emphasizes lots of math skills. So for example, identifying sequence, identifying numbers, and doing graphing are all part of our math skills that we want students to learn. So that's the calendar activities. And then what will happen is very often students will break into their literacy time. So students have literacy for 90 minutes each day. And the literacy time is broken down into different segments. So for example, in this photograph, you can see a teacher who is doing a whole group lesson. And this whole group lesson might last for 30 minutes. Although 30 minutes sounds like a lot of time for a kindergarten student to sit still at the beginning of the year, what they might do is they might start with something a little bit shorter and they work up to that 30 minutes of whole group. And then after the 30 minutes of a whole group lesson, what they do is they break into small group and center activities that support the concepts that they're working on. All right, so again, here's another photograph of literacy time. And in this picture, you can see students that are meeting in a small group. So small group takes place each day as well for 20 to 30 minutes during that 90-minute literacy time. And students will meet with their classroom teacher, and they might be doing something like practicing reading fluency or comprehension like they are in this photograph. Or they could be doing something like working with letter tiles and practicing phonics and phonemic awareness. So students here are learning about their letters, and they're putting letters together to form sight words. All right, and so another activity that takes place during the literacy time is that students will often work in pairs or independently or in centers on certain skills, again, while the classroom teacher is meeting with small groups. And just to mention, we use the Journeys Comprehensive Core Literacy Program at the Robinson School. And the great part about that program is that it is allowing all of our kindergarten teachers to deliver instruction consistently from classroom to classroom so that all students are receiving instruction on the same literacy skills. All right, so in this photograph, you can see a paraprofessional is working with kindergarten students during literacy time. And the job of the paraprofessional is to support students as they work independently in pairs or in center activities while the teacher meets with a small group. So during the literacy time is when the paraprofessionals are present in the kindergarten classroom to help out. And all of this literacy time is very important, and there is a lot of work that goes into getting students used to these routines and getting them acclimated to the classroom and getting them to know, what comes next after the whole group lesson, what their jobs are while the teacher is meeting with small groups. And that's, again, where the paraprofessionals come in handy. And they also give essential feedback to students about their engagement and about the work that they're doing. All right, so another part of literacy time that is provided to some students is we have additional small group work that takes place with our reading specialists. So in this photograph, this is Mrs. Fleischman, and she is one of our reading specialists. And some students who demonstrate a need through their DIBEL screening, which is an academic screen that we use 3 times a year, sometimes they need a little extra boost with their reading skills. So what will happen is those students will meet not only with their classroom teacher each day, but they'll also meet with Mrs. Fleischman 5 days a week as well. And that all takes place during the literacy time. All right, so after students have literacy, if that's their first academic for the day, they've worked really hard and it might be time for a snack break. So students are gonna have a snack break each day. They'll have at least one. Some classrooms do 2, depending on the dynamic of the classroom. But what we do is we encourage parents to send children with a nutritious snack and a drink or a refillable water bottle. We have water bottle filling stations throughout the school that students are able to go and fill their water bottles up throughout the day. The other thing I want to mention is that we are not a peanut-free school, but strict provisions are in place so that all students' safety is maintained. Classroom teachers are trained by our health office, and they know prior to students entering their classrooms in September who the students are confidentially that have any allergy or health issues. So all of that information is shared with teachers prior to students coming into school. All right, so I just want to mention here too, before we go on to math, that Mrs. Django is monitoring any questions that you have that you might be able to type into the YouTube comment box. She's monitoring that for me and providing responses as we go through this presentation. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about math. So students have math for 60 minutes each day, and you can see here, again, just like literacy, math is presented as whole group. It's also broken down into small group time and independent practice. So in this slide right here, you can see a student accessing the smartboard. Every classroom has a smartboard, and students go up and it's interactive, and we're able to pull up the graphics from our math program. We use Envisions 2.0. Again, another comprehensive program that allows the delivery of skills consistently across grade levels. So students are able to interact with that program here. So a very child-centered approach here where the student is interacting and there is participation and engagement on the part of the students who are here joining as a whole group. All right, so math continues after that whole group session, which might last for approximately 20 minutes. Here, some students are working in groups, and there are different centers that teachers set up that students might rotate through as part of their math lesson each day. Students might visit 3 different centers as time goes on. And again, the kindergarten teachers work really hard at the beginning of the year to get students acclimated to the classroom and to get them to understand what it means to rotate from one station to the next and how to be a good worker when they're there in those stations. So there's a lot of work that goes into getting those structures in place and those routines in place. All right, so we'll go on. And again, students in the math block might have time to do a little exploration. They might do some independent work. So here you can see a couple of our students are working with pattern blocks. All right. So as we go through the day, students are going to have a lunch and recess time of 50 minutes. We have a 25-minute lunch time and we have a 25-minute recess time. We have lunches that start at approximately 11:30 and they go until approximately 1 o'clock. So the last lunch would be at 1 o'clock. And the lunches, again, are 25 minutes long. Students can bring their own lunch or they can purchase a lunch at school. And students sit with their classes at the same table. And then every other day they rotate. So you can see on this playground that this is the basketball area, this is the hardtop area out back behind our school, and there's Wonderworks off in the distance. So one day your child would go out to this particular area for recess, and on the opposite day, they would go to the other hardtop area, which you can view from the front of our school. And the kids alternate on different days, and they have playground equipment that they can use while they're outside playing with friends. And they have sidewalk chalk, hula hoops, jump ropes, playground balls, and so on. So they have a great time while they're out there. All right. Okay, so the next part of your child's day will be specials. And we have specials each day, 5 days a week for 40 minutes each day. Students will get an opportunity to participate in visual arts, music, and physical education. So if your child, on particular days when your child has visual arts, what you'll hear our teachers talk about at the curriculum night that takes place in September is to please have their children not wear their best clothes on an art day. Because as you can see, students are painting, they're drawing, they're using clay, they're using all kinds of materials where they're going to get their hands a little bit messy, and they could possibly get their clothing a little bit messy. So the kids really have a great time in visual arts. Our art teachers are fantastic. They are always engaging students with lots of hands-on activity across a variety of media. So the students really enjoy that. And throughout the year, we have different artwork that's hanging up around our school, and the year culminates with a big May art show that takes place at the high school in May. So that's a lot of fun to look forward to. In addition, they participate in physical education. So our phys ed teachers at curriculum night will oftentimes tell you to make sure that students dress in things that they would be comfortable moving around in. Sneakers are a must, and students again participate in lots of skill building and team-oriented activities that are developmentally appropriate for kindergarten. The kids really enjoy that. We have 2 gymnasiums. We have this gymnasium, which is a little bit newer, and then we have our other gymnasium, which is more, it's actually the original gymnasium that was part of the Robinson School when it was built originally back a while ago. So we have 2 gymnasiums for students to spread out in. All right, and then we have music. And here is a photograph of Mrs. Lambert with some of our kindergarten students. And Mrs. Lambert is a fabulous music teacher. She does a lot with movement and singing and instrument playing and note reading and all of that fun music stuff. So she gets the kids up and moving and dancing and singing and interacting with one another. So that's lots of fun as well. All right, students also get 25 minutes of library time every other week. And here you can see some kindergarten students in our library. They get an opportunity to come in. They get to sign out a book. And while they are there, they hear a read aloud. The librarian will choose a book, try to match it up with whatever topic they're studying in class, and we'll do a read aloud with the students. All right, and then some of the other spaces that we have in school, we have a computer lab, and we have a computer/technology lab. So one of our computer labs actually is housed in the library. So teachers might sometimes choose to stay a little bit beyond their 25 minutes, and they might access the computer lab that is located in the library, or they might opt to go upstairs to our other mixed technology lab. And in our mixed technology lab, you can see that we have desktop computers, we have iPads, we have some fun little devices. They're robots that students get to work on coding with. That's what they're doing in that bottom left picture. And we also have Chromebooks. So students get to use all of those devices in the mixed technology lab. In addition, there are computer pods in the classroom, and there are Chromebooks that teachers can sign out and take to their classroom as well. All right, so sometimes as students work through the day, when time becomes available, they might have time to have a little bit of choice activity. And so kindergarten teachers are very much wanting to give children opportunities to play and interact with their peers to help with social development. So you can see in this classroom, there is a kitchen set up. There are also other activities that students might get to engage in, like a block center. And this little girl is having fun painting at an easel. So teachers have different centers set up in their room for choice time, and oftentimes they'll rotate these and change them out depending on the theme or the season. So choice time is another activity that's lots of fun, and kindergarten teachers also love to welcome in parent volunteers because, of course, working with 19 to 20 5-year-olds is really a lot of work. So having more hands to help out with managing some of the tasks that they like to do, the special tasks that they like to do, is always welcome. So you can see here, one of our parent volunteers is working with our students. All right, so at the end of the day, your students are going to be really tired, and what happens is at about 3:02, we start our staggered dismissal time. So the reason I included this photograph here of the front of the Robinson School is because I wanted to indicate to you where it is that you will go to pick up your kindergarten student if they are going to be a walker. So if you're familiar with the front of our building, the door that's all the way over to the right-hand side near the brick wall, near where you can see a cars parked in the parking lot, that door is where kindergarten students are going to come out if they're walkers. And again, we have adults that are going to walk children to the door. They're going to stay there with them, and they are not going to release your child to an adult unless the adult picking up has a photo ID. And a photo ID is a must. So I just like to say that because we've had some parents who have shown up before without their photo ID, and it makes for a delay. And it's just nice to know that if that's needed, that you'll have it in hand when you come to pick up your walker. For students that are going to be attending Champs or riding the bus, again, adults will walk them to those places. They'll drop them off at the cafeteria for Champs. And again, adults will walk your children to the buses and make sure that they get on the correct bus when it's time to go home. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to turn the presentation over to Mrs. Django, who is going to be talking a little bit. Oops, wait a minute. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I'm going to be turning the presentation over to Mr. Gentili, and Mr. Gentili is going to talk a little bit about special education.
Thank you, Dr. Sankey. Again, a big welcome to all the new Robinson families. So I'm just going to touch upon our special education program here at the Robinson Elementary School. So within our program, we really do support and promote the inclusive practices in the least restrictive environment for all of our students. We have an extensive transition process that really officially kicks off in December, but in reality, it's going on behind the scenes and with you guys as well throughout the entire school year. And the purpose of those meetings, those IEP meetings, is to make sure that we have classes that meet the needs of all of our individual students. So IEP meetings that occur in the fall, we've had a lot of kindergarten teachers that were able to attend those meetings. And that has given those teachers a good insight into some of these students that are coming in. So it's been a good way of getting a lot of good information. A lot of that is prior to the school closure. So since then, we've been using our virtual platform, Google Meets, to hold IEP meetings. And again, kindergarten teachers have been able to attend those meetings as well. In addition, we have our school psychologists, our occupational and physical therapists, and our speech and language therapists have been consulting with each other. They've been doing that in person as well as through Google Meets. And a lot of those support staff have been involved in those IEP team meetings as well. The special education teachers consistently consult with one another. So those special education teachers over at Roland Green, per se, communicate with the kindergartner special education teachers. So they're getting a good picture of the students coming in, so that when they arrive on that very first day, we can have a good understanding of them, and we can implement all those accommodations and strategies they're gonna make them successful in their kindergarten school year. We do promote a team-based model, and we do that through communication, collaboration, and consultation. So we have our classroom teachers and our special education teachers collaborating with each other consistently. They really do it on a daily basis through meetings, shared common planning time, where they're able to provide supports to all of those students that they share, as well as make sure that those accommodations, again, are being implemented in the best possible way for the students. We do have a lot of paraprofessionals that work within the classrooms, and they assist the classroom teachers with the students as well. And again, frequent communication with parents is the best. So teachers and special education teachers doing that, as well as you. So if any questions come up as the year goes on, absolutely communicate that with your kindergarten teacher or your special education teacher as well. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to turn it over now to Mrs. Django, and she's going to go ahead and talk about some additional student supports that are in place at the Robinson School.
Hi, everyone. I apologize. I have been trying to keep up with some of the responses on to your questions on YouTube. I'm having to do it from my phone, so it's a little bit more challenging than I anticipated. So I apologize for that if I seem very distracted right now, or as Dr. Sankey and Mr. Gentili were speaking. So PBIS. PBIS is positive behavior interventions and supports. So what we do through PBIS is teach students social behaviors and expected behaviors throughout the school. So the classroom teachers will show videos. They teach them what to do in every area of the building. So the videos will teach them how to what's expected in the hallways and their behavior and their voice volume. They will show them, and we will help support them in learning what to do in the cafeteria. We do a practice cafeteria run before lunch on the very first day of school, so that we're teaching students what's expected in the cafeteria, in the hallways, and within the classrooms. And throughout our school, what we are expecting is that students would be kind, be safe, and be responsible in all areas of the building. And you'll see the little bracelets on the side there. That's what they're earning when they're showing the kind, safe, and responsible behavior. So what PBIS looks like in school, it's positively stated rules and reminders. So if we see a student running in the hallways, we would say, oh, let me see your walking feet, instead of turning it negative and saying you don't run in the hallways. We would just say, oh, I would expect to see you walking in the hallways, or I would expect to see you using a quiet voice, or show me your quiet voice and walking feet. We're always clear with that. The expectations are clear with our students, and students rise to the occasion with the positive behavior within the classroom and school-wide general areas. The processes and procedures have been clearly defined throughout the building, so students will know, due to the lessons that the teachers are showing them and teaching them in those very first few weeks of school and throughout the year. Teachers really focus on being kind, safe, and responsible. Another aspect of social thinking, of our PBIS, is social thinking, which is a curriculum used by our counseling team that focuses on developing students' self-awareness and skills that help students respond to a variety of feelings and emotions that they experience throughout the day. it's important for our students to cultivate these skills. They're soft skills that are not easily measured, yet have a great impact on social relationships. Being able to process feelings and emotions and respond appropriately are the foundation of social success. So that's a very important skill for our students to learn through the social thinking. And what this counselors are focusing on are problem solving, like the size of the problem, perspective taking, which is the student's ability to understand others' feelings, personal advocacy, which is the skills of knowing what is needed. If they need something, they're going to ask the teacher for it. And that's what our counseling staff is helping to develop in our skills. Social relatedness, how do I fit in? Self-regulation skills, what do I do when? And then coping strategies, how do I deal with uncomfortable feelings? So part of the assistant principal's job in a school is dealing with those unexpected behaviors when they pop up. The job may have changed a little bit since you were in school, because nobody ever wanted to be sent to the principal when I was growing up. Now we're building relationship with students and working with you to support those expected behaviors. So when we call you, don't be afraid. It's a partnership. We're working together for your student success. So Mr. Gentili will be partnering with you next year. So please don't be afraid when he calls you. It's not that your child is in trouble the way it used to be determined. Working together to help correct an unexpected behavior. So your children will have a great year in school next year. And I will be turning it back over to Dr. Sankey.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Django. And so as you can see, there are lots of skills and lots of knowledge that your students will be gaining next year. It's a very busy year. Kindergarten is really one of the most important years. It's your child's first experience with a formal education here at the Mansfield Public Schools. And we do our very best to lay the foundation for all of the learning, academic and social emotional, that they will be doing not only in kindergarten, but as they go on through the grades. So it's a really exciting time. And just like Mrs. Django said, don't be afraid if we reach out to you. We want to let you know that we are highly accessible. Even though Mrs. Django is going to be leaving us, she's been with us for the past 4 years. She and I have worked together, and I'll be working with Mr. Gentili starting in September. And we are highly accessible. We welcome your phone calls. We welcome your emails about any questions or any concerns that you might have. And we address your needs as soon as we can. So we welcome that communication. So in terms of getting ready for the big day, it's sort of a tough thing to think about right now, because again, there are many details that still need to be worked out. But it's really important that you talk with your child about school. As we go through the summer and as we are able to work out our process for screening and placement, we will be in touch with you, and we will be able to give you more information about how that process is going to unfold and when that is all going to be taking place. So ordinarily, you would be receiving a placement letter at the beginning of August. But like I mentioned earlier, kindergarten students will not receive the letter at that time. Instead, we need to work out the process for screening so that we know how to place students, and then placement letters will be sent out. So we're anticipating that that may be very late in the summer at this time. So I'll be in touch with you as that whole process unfolds and we know more. So if possible, if you have neighbors or friends with children who you know are going to be also attending our kindergarten, it's always lots of fun to set up a play date. And excuse me, again, it's kind of a tricky time right now, but as the summer goes on and you have more access to getting together more openly with friends. We recommend setting up play dates. We are going to hopefully have an open house. Typically, we have an open house in August. And it's usually right before Labor Day weekend. And at that time, all of our classrooms are set up and students are welcome to come in and take a walk through the building, get acclimated to the building, and get to visit their classroom. So again, we're going to see how the summer goes. And as that process unfolds, I'll have more information for you. If you're able to visit the library, it's a great idea to go and check out the library. And there are some great books out there about the first day of school. Again, picking out an outfit to wear the night before is always lots of fun. And then what's really important is getting on a sleep schedule, getting your child back into a routine and on a sleep schedule that is appropriate for the school year. Doing that in August in preparation for that September start is really important, making sure they get a good night's sleep. A good night's sleep so that they're feeling good when they come to school, having a good breakfast, attendance, all of those things are really, really important for them to be successful as kindergarten students. And of course, those first few days when you're dropping your child off, hopefully, when they're looking for their sign and finding their class and getting in line, keeping the goodbyes short and sweet and knowing that it's going to be great and that your children are going to be cared for. Our teachers are a very, very special and very talented group of people. They are incredibly dedicated. They are really where the magic happens. And I am so fortunate to be the principal and to have such a wonderful staff of teachers and paraprofessionals working in my building. It's really an amazing place. For any of you who have not been to the Robinson School before, I think when you come to the school, the moment you walk in the door, you're going to notice that it's a really, really special place. It's a very welcoming place. And it's definitely a place where you can feel that children are cared for. There's really a certain happy energy that fills up the building. So I'm excited for you to be having this opportunity. All right, so I'm going to turn it over right now to Mr. Gentili, who's going to talk a little bit about how parents can get involved in the school. So Mr. Gentili.
Thank you. So MISA is our parent organization at the elementary school. So they provide a tremendous amount of support for the Robinson Elementary School as well as the Jordan Jackson Elementary School. It's a great way for parents to get involved as well. They really provide a lot of opportunities to promote the academic and social success of all the students. So for example, in kindergarten, they provide a kindergarten social that they do in the courtyard at the Robinson School. They provide the Halloween bingo, which is a fan favorite, I think, among Robinson students. They bring in the Bookworms program, which is an opportunity for children to pick out their own book. They go into the cafeteria, there's books spread out on all the tables, and they have an opportunity to kind of go through those books and pick one out that they really like for themselves, and they get to take that home. In the spring, the kindergarten students get to kind of work in the garden a little bit. There is a garden at the Robinson School also. And they really are the driving force for all the yearbooks. So they really put a lot of time. That is a year-long effort to get those yearbooks out or memory books out and provide those for the students as well. Again, if you want to learn more, they have monthly meetings. They have a website, which I suggest that everybody take a look at. You can see those upcoming meetings. And if you want to join, you can reach out to some of those people. There's contact information on that page. And MISA is also on Facebook, so feel free to like them and follow them, and you can stay up to date that way as well. And now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Sankey, and she's going to talk about some additional resources that are out there.
All right, thanks, Mr. Gentili. Okay, so a couple of helpful resources that you are able to find is one of the important places you might want to go is in case you still need to submit some of your kindergarten registration documents if you go to the district website, it's mansfieldschools.com, and you can click on the Robinson page, and you can go to our kindergarten registration page. There's information there about registration and about any of the documents that you need to have submitted prior to us doing placement for your child. And then another wonderful website is this website right here, getreadytoread.org. There are lots of activities, parent-friendly activities that you might find that you might want to work with your students with over the summer. Lots of great resources there. And I'm going to be pulling some activities from this website and sending them out to you in our kindergarten newsletter. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Nicole, who's going to talk to you a little bit about the additional information. And Nicole, do you want to share a little bit about yourself? Because we missed you a little bit earlier in the presentation.
I apologize for that. You got to love the networks of computers for sure. Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to, to see me. Thank you for everything you've been doing to get all of your kindergarten stuff into me. I myself started at Robinson Elementary School. I now work there, and I have my third daughter going through Robinson, starting as a kindergartner. So anything you need to know about Mansfield, I'm here for you. Thank you, Carrie. And some things that you probably know is my email address. I'm one that's sending out all the newsletters to everybody. We will be doing that throughout the summer as well. As things come from district, from the state, we will release when we know. Normally, we would be releasing by now bus registration, but we don't know start date of school, nor do we know how everything will look like with that. So any questions for me, let me know. You know how to reach me. And anything else?
I think you covered it, Nicole. Thank you. Okay, so what I'm going to do for all of the parents out there that are part of the incoming kindergarten, again, we want to welcome you. We welcome you with open doors and open hearts. Robinson, again, is a really special place, and we all love what we do there, and we are so excited to welcome your children. Again, we don't have any idea at this point what our year is going to look like, and we still have a lot of details to work out. But I do want to let you know that as soon as we have information, we are going to be pushing it out to you through our kindergarten newsletters. And as we go through the summer, if it's needed, I will do another live stream here on YouTube and share more information with you. I definitely want to make sure that I share with you how we will run our screening process and our placement once we get that worked out. I am planning on posting the slideshow that you saw tonight as part of this presentation on our school website. I will also share that out with you in a kindergarten newsletter so that any parents who are not able to join us can review the slideshow, and there's information in there. Our contact phone number and our emails are here. Another person that we want to mention tonight who was not able to join us is Nancy Byer. She's our Assistant Director of Special Education. So she's a very important person who will help the transition for your child go very smoothly. And that's really what we're all about. We want to help your children come into the educational setting very smoothly. We want them to feel welcome. We want them to feel safe. We want them to feel cared for. So that is a huge priority for us at the Robinson School. So again, we welcome you. We are highly accessible. Please do not hesitate to reach out at any time to us through email. And we thank you so much for joining us this evening. And we want to just wrap up by saying the first day of K is on the way. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, and please be on the lookout for newsletters and for the possibility of additional live streams as they're needed. And our job will be to share that communication with you. So thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. Have a great night and enjoy your summer.